Do you want to accelerate your career? Do you want to get the pay raise that you deserve? Today, we're going to dive into the difference from an average employee to a great employee. I've been working since I was 13, and I have made some mistakes along the way. There are some things I could have done differently that if someone would have just told me, I would probably have been in a different position. I probably would have got a pay raise. I may have gotten a promotion that I was looking for. But because I didn't understand, I didn't make the right steps. So we're going to dive deep into 4 key areas that you can be looking at to make yourself a great employee. Number 1, be a free thinker. So some employers do expect you to be a robot, but that's not really the case anymore. Employers want to see you think. They want to see you improve. They want to see their company improve. One example I like to give is the American car industry and the world car industry. So back, Henry Ford essentially invented the mass automotive industry. And so he created his assembly line where you had one guy standing on the assembly line, he put this screw in, and it went to the next guy and he put this screw in, so on and so forth. And people were doing the exact same job every single day back and forth and really had no input. This went on for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And then you get the Japanese automotive industry. They take a little different approach. They actually expect their employees to give input. They have a board that is engineers and their staff that's on the assembly lines, all working together to improve the product as a whole. So they come out and they start shipping cars to America. Their cars are amazing. They're much more reliable than the ones that the Americans are building. Why was that? Because their employees actually had a passion for that, and they have built a better car because they were taking the thoughts from the assembly line workers and incorporating it into their entire process. So that has since been adapted by the American manufacturers, and the quality of cars being produced by the American manufacturers has improved greatly. But this applies to any industry. You may come into a job and they may show you this is the process of how we do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. They may have been doing that for 20 years. That may have been how the old person was doing it, and who knows why they did it that way. You come in, you learn that way. But you may find a better way to do it. Now, I'm not saying you should go and just do whatever you want and ignore your employer. Go take it to your employer, take it to your manager. Say, hey, I've got this really great idea. This is how this could work better. We can save time, we can save money, improve the efficiencies, improve the profit for the company. Number 2, take ownership of your work. This is a really personal one for me because I remember when I was in high school, so I worked with my mom at my job, and there was I can't remember what it was now, this was too long ago, there was something I did not want to do. I absolutely dreaded doing whatever task it was, and I didn't want to do it. And so I sat down on the floor and said, I'm going to take a break. And my mom turned around and looked at me and said, you need to get up, you need to do your job because this is what you're paid to do and this is what you signed on to do. So I did. I stood up and I went and did my job. And I still remember that to this very day. She reminded me that what I did today reflects on me long term. Because of my work at that time, I was able to achieve great things while I was there and move on to other things. So always, always, always make sure that your work is done to the best of your ability, even if you don't like it. You may not like every single aspect of your job, but you have signed on to do it, you have agreed to do it, and you need to do it. Now, if your employer is asking you to do something illegal, that's a different story, or unethical, but as long as your employer is asking you to do within the bounds of the law and within the bounds of your ethics, you need to do it. And honestly, your employer shouldn't know that you don't like doing it. You should have an annual review with your employer, and that may be the time that you bring it up. And hopefully, if it's something that you don't like, hopefully they don't know it. Hopefully they're surprised by it, and they say, thank you for letting me know, and then you'll be rewarded for that. But your work should always be 100%, so that way you show your employer that you really do care about your job and your career. Number 3, don't stare at the clock. Now, this may go against what some of you have been raised. This certainly goes against what I was raised. Whenever I was growing up, my dad would get mad if my mom wouldn't leave the office at 5 o'clock sharp or 5:30, whatever time it was, because he wanted her to come home because he said, it's now your day and you're done. That mentality doesn't get you anywhere in your career. You're gonna sit and stay where you are because you're never going to advance the company's goals and making yourself an asset by doing that. What your goal is to take care of your job no matter what. So if you get your job done early, stellar. If it takes you longer to get the job done, awesome. Don't be one of those people waiting for 5 o'clock to go down, to go to the bar, to go home. Make sure you do your job and make sure your employer knows that you need to do your job. Now, I am not saying don't have a schedule. If you have a date night planned with your wife, That is awesome. Make sure you have enough time scheduled in the day to get your work done. Get there early. Let everybody know that you have a date that night. That way someone doesn't throw something on you at the last minute. Number 4, don't think about pay. I know, this may seem absolutely crazy. Why are you working if you're not getting paid? I'm not saying you shouldn't get paid, and I'm not saying you shouldn't worry about the pay, but you shouldn't worry about it on a daily basis. Whenever you signed on to your employer, you agreed to do a certain job for a certain amount of money. If you don't think that's enough money, you already agreed to it. You should have thought about that before you started. You're here now, and that is your job, and you need to give 100% effort for that. Now, I've heard former employees of mine say that I don't get paid enough to do this job. Okay, maybe you don't. Prove it to me. Show me how much of an asset you are. Show me where you're making the company more money. Show me that you actually want to do this job. Because if you can prove that to me, and you can prove to me that what you're doing is making a return on my money, then I will gladly give you a pay raise. Now, I'm not saying that, you should not ever worry about this. You should look for an annual review. You may have employers who forget about annual reviews. That's happened to me before. Just bring it up and be like, hey, it's been a while since we've done an annual review. Would you mind if we sit down and have this conversation? I did that once. No one was offended. We scheduled a time the next couple of weeks. We did a full review. I got a pay raise. Everybody's happy. But your work needs to come first before the raise, not vice versa. There should never be anything that you're holding over the employer of, I'm going to do a better job if you pay me more. Why would you work harder if I pay you more? You should already be working 100%. So keep that in mind. Always give your 100%. Don't worry about the pay on a daily basis, and then you'll be rewarded at the end of the day. I hope that you've learned something today about how to be a better employee. If you take these 4 simple principles and implement them in your life and your daily work, you will see an improvement. You will see pay raises, and you will see promotions. Now, that's not a guarantee, but if you don't see that, take your skills to somewhere else, because there will be an employer out there who will appreciate your skills and who will want to pay you and give you the promotion that you deserve. So if you've enjoyed this, take a second to like, subscribe, and comment below. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. I'm Brian Mullins, and I hope that you have a good day.